Hello. Today's update, I'm going to just focus on the fact I had my MRI today. It was a weird experience. I think best thing I can say first off is I'm relieved to say that I definitely have a brain. That was something that I just kept imagining all the funny outcomes if there was just an IOU note there, or just an empty vacuum, or I don't know, just something bizarre like an alien or a slug or something. But then, secondly, I kept asking them, if there's something bad, will you know straight away? And they kept giving me dodgy answers, and it's really frustrating. And then they eventually said, if they like scanned and they just saw a whacking great big, like I was about to drop dead, then yeah, they'd be like, okay, let's get this guy into a ward and sort him out. Um, the guy on the way out, I said to him, "Did you have a look?" And he said, "I had a quick look, nothing acute." And I don't really know what that means. My mum and my sister have said that means nothing, yeah, urgent, nothing that's going to kill me. Um, that kind of information is difficult to process on an hour-long drive home, because all you're then thinking is, well, is he saying, "Hey, you're not going to die tonight," you know, or is he saying, I didn't really look, mate. You're my last scan. It's 6:30 on a Thursday. I've got 4 days off. I just want to get hammered. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it's not the latter. I'm assuming he looked as much as he said he did. I don't know when he would have done. He was very blasé about the whole thing, which was nice in a way, but equally, it's a bit worrying, isn't it? Um, I assume, at the very least, if there was some whacking great big lump in my head that meant I was going to collapse at any point, that have said. So I apparently will get the results within 48 hours, 2 working days, which would be Wednesday. I guess if there's not any videos after that, you know why. um, I feel a lot better now. I still feel worried, but I feel less worried because I'm at home now. And on my way there, I kept having these really dark, like I'm driving along listening to music, and I suddenly thought, cracky, if I went there tonight and I had to go into surgery and whatever, and they just ballsed it up, I was like, I didn't. It was just, oh, I'm not even going into it. This is supposed to be a comedy video. I just kept thinking all these, and then my wife fortunately rang me, and my kids were making so much noise in the background. I just thought, I'm glad I've got to hear him and talk to him, and I feel a bit better now. When I arrived at the hospital, I barely sat down. They took me straight in. They said to me, it's really noisy. Like, you're going to have to wear earplugs. It's a very, very noisy environment. I said to them, I've got 3 kids. I've just been on the phone to them. I'm used to noise. And they were like, oh, it's fine then. It'll be quiet. And I've got to say, it wasn't that bad at all. I'm guessing it was loud. I had earphones, earplugs in. But all I just heard was just like noise, just droning, and then a weird like dial-up modem sort of sound, which I decided in my head was this machine taking the pictures, taking the pictures, taking the pictures, and then sending them somewhere. But I imagine that's not what was happening at all. I imagine it was like massive, great big magnets spinning around and all sorts of noise. But that's how it played out for me. Um, it was, again, I'm worried about the fact that they were very non-committal about everything. I suppose I get they can't do it. I had a thing when I was younger where I had to. Someone asked me how their results had been, and I couldn't tell them, even though I knew it was bad. And when I was working in healthcare, and it's not a great situation to be in, but they didn't do anything. They didn't sort of say, "Oh, I don't know," and then look left and right. None of the kind of soap opera style, lean in for a hug and then go over my shoulder because they hate me or anything like that. They seemed completely deadpan about it all and just didn't give anything either way. Which again, now I'm second guessing that, because I'm sort of thinking if it was absolutely fine, they'd have gone, "Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, you go home." But ultimately, I think it was a mixture of it. It's probably his last scan of the day almost, and as I say, I'll find out Wednesday. I'll forget about that until then, I guess. The whole process was. I mean, there was little cartoony bits to it, stupid bits. I arrived. They said to me, you need to just take off the metal that you've got on you. They asked some ridiculous questions like, have you been shot recently? They asked me that 3 days ago. They asked me again today, to be sure. And then they asked me when I got into the machine. And I kind of thought, how many people answer in that room that they have not been shot and then get into this room and have been shot? Or remember, who just goes, oh, I was in the bank 3 days ago, and someone shot me in the leg. I forgot to tell you twice. But I know the score. They've got to check, haven't they? They kept asking if I had a pacemaker, and again, I was like, I haven't had heart surgery between these two rooms. Unless someone's nipped in and just stuck it in my chest while I wasn't looking, I'm all right. I had to take off like jeans, shoes, glasses. There seemed to be this weird, so I did it all. And then my first question was, well, where do I put the key you've given me? And I was like, oh, we'll just take it. And I'm thinking, well, now you're ransacking my stuff. I haven't even checked my wallet, to be fair. But when I came out, the first thing this random stranger just went to me, where do I put this? And I was like, I was like, you noob. They have a table. They put it on the table. Everyone knows that, you noob. I tried to explain to him, if he has kids, it won't be that noisy. It's not too bad. He looked as scared as I was going in. I've never experienced anything like the machine. The bloke laid me down on the table. He said, "Me, come in. You got to lay here." He said, "When are you to scan? You just got to lay perfectly still, and we'll scan you." I'm thinking, okay, lay on a table. They send me into the machine. There's lots of steps they don't tell you in advance that they should tell you to prepare you for this, and this is where it kind of gets a bit silly, because he goes, "So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you in some pictures." He said, "And then I'm going to bring you out. And I'm going to pump you full of dye. And I'm going to stick you back in, and your brain's going to light up, and we'll be able to see all the nerves and synapses, whatever it is, all the different lines and squiggly bits, and we'll know what's going on in there." And I'm thinking, okay. And then he goes, "So I'm just going to pop is it a cannula? I can't remember now, it's been years, in your arm." And I was like, "Oh, you're going to stick a needle in me?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's a plastic one, don't worry." I was like, I'm not worrying about what type of material it is. I'm worried about the fact that you've just laid me down on a chair and then you've revealed you're going to stab me. Like, that's something you should be like, oh, be prepared to be injected with dye. I hate needles, and anyone who really, really hates them, like I hate them, but I've had enough that I can get on with it and I'll accept it. I just close my eyes and grimace and all of that. But if you were someone who just genuinely hated it, I was already so worried about this scam. Them saying that, I was like, oh, and then to top it off from there, I'm laying on this thing that's like this on my head, and he sticks earplugs in both my ears, so I can't hear anything. And then he's chatting away, and I'm thinking I can just about understand what you're saying. And then he gets out this massive box and just puts it over my head, meaning that it's on my forehead, and it's on me like that. I can talk because it's not covering my mouth exactly, but you can't see my mouth, and it's just like a little peephole. And he's like, is this comfortable? And I'm going, well, it's kind of, he's pushing it shut on my earlobe or whatever. This bit's just like, I reckon I probably had a piercing. I probably put an earring in. He just closed it. And I'm like, my ear. It's like, you're closing it on my left ear. So he's lifting this side up and closing it again. And I'm like, my left ear. And I'm pointing at like left. And he's lifting. And I'm like, mate, my left ear. And then he's waffling on. I can't hear him because I had the earplugs. And he finally came round and he just lifted it and closed it again. I was like, that's still on my ear. And he's just like fidgeting around. And in the end, I thought, it doesn't hurt anymore. I can't even feel my ear. I was like, yeah, it's good. And he just sort of sent me in. And I mean, I don't know whether it was just the very edge of my ear, but after, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, I kind of didn't feel it anymore. But it was just weird. It just felt like I had this complete box around my head. My whole body went in. He told me to hold this thing, and I was trying to get comfortable, so I'm holding it with my arms out like that. And he had to like force my elbows down because I was like basically trying to airplane my way into this tunnel. And then I'm in there, and he's saying to me, "Don't move." He said to me, "Don't move, sorry." So then I'm thinking, well, my hands are really uncomfortable. Can I move my hands? And I'm like, well, he can't hear me if I ask because it's just started up now, and it's making this weird click, click, click noise at me. And I'm thinking, like, I can't move it. I don't want to move anything in case it affects, like, if I move my hand, is it going to, the muscles all the way up to my head are going to move and then suddenly it wrecks the picture? I don't know. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And after what seemed like forever, he pulled me back out again. And I was like, can I move my hands and anything else? He was like, yeah, I'm only looking at your head. I was like, phew. Then when I went back in, I couldn't, I'm thinking, I still just want to, if I breathe, I can feel my head moving up and down. And I was just trying to get my breathing pattern right. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt like I was going like that while I breathed. And, it was just doing my head in. When he mentioned the whole dye thing, I didn't know that he hadn't put it in. And when I'm like, the weirdest thing was happening, where I was in there, I was just, there's like this white, because you're in this really thin, narrow tunnel. and it's only about like, I don't know, that far away from your face. So I'm just staring at this whiteness, and after a while of staring at it, I kept just seeing these weird green patches just floating around, and I'm thinking, what is this? I was like, is this just like a side effect of the fact that, I don't know, magnets? Is it like, I'm making up all these harebrained nonsense sciencey things, and I'm thinking, I wonder if it's the dye that he said he was going to inject me with. And then when he brought me back out, and then he put the dye in, so I was like, well, it can't be the dye. So I said to him, I just keep seeing all these like green colours. And he was like, you see all sorts in there. And again, he made it sound like they nip in all the time. He was telling me that one of his colleagues went in and got a heart scan just for a laugh, and then saw she had a cyst on her heart, and now every time like she gets a chest cold, she thinks her heart's going to explode. And I'm thinking, well, a cyst on your heart's pretty major, isn't it? I've watched like documentaries where they freeze people in like bags of ice to get them down to whatever degree, and then they open them up and sew it all up. And she's wandering around with one just willy nilly, knowing it's there. But he said he's been in them loads of times. Sounds like a weird perk of the job, doesn't it, to be able to nip in and scan yourself? But he said he's seen all sorts of things in there, and I thought, I can't even imagine what he meant by that, because like all I saw was a green splodgy thing just where my eyes are getting, adjusting to the fact it was staring at just whiteness, and the fact I was probably just relaxing and stressing and all this, that, and the other. But I don't know what he thinks he saw in there, whether he's just like hallucinated all sorts. But that's worrying if he thinks he's seen more. The apparently I was only being scanned for 4 minutes at a time. Like, they put me in 4 minutes, pulled me out, injected me, sent me back in for 4 minutes. That was probably the longest 4 minutes of my life. I said to him, if you'd have pulled me out and said I'd been in there a day, I probably wouldn't have questioned it. I probably wouldn't have been like, really? No. I felt like I was in there a good 20, 30 minutes. But then, oddly as well, by the time I got out of the hospital and started driving home, it didn't feel like I'd been in King's Lynn for that long, which is where the hospital was. So, I don't know, it was a bit of a mixed, weird feeling. But as I sort of drove off, I just felt relieved that it's not something where it means I'm just going to be ill for the next, well, it's not critical enough that that's going to affect anything major. It sounds like I'll just find out on Wednesday what they want to do, and we'll go from there. But it was just a weird, stressful experience. Just made weird by how blasé they were. I think they should warn. He was showing me again, as I came out of it all, he was showing me all the different devices they put on other people. He was telling me the thing he put on my head was what allowed them to photograph. Like, so whatever they threw at me from the machine, it bounced around, and then this box recorded it somehow. But he was showing me that they have one for a knee, one for a breast, one for an arm, one for whatever. The table I'm on does the spine. And I was thinking, like, if you'd have given me this talk through on the way in, I'd have been a lot more relaxed. If you'd have said I could have just put my arms down. My daughter was saying, did I just do little dances? Because if I'd have known I could have done little dances, I'd have just been like, wee, But, I mean, next time, if I ever have to, touch wood, I won't have to have one. But if I ever have to have one again, I'll know that I can just have a little boogie in there. But yeah, it's an experience. I wouldn't recommend you book it as a holiday, but I guess I can say I've had it done now. Yeah, I mean, I'm relieved that I'm home. Find out on Wednesday. I hope you won't have to do any more medical updates until then, and hopefully then it will just be a side note. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm all good. I've got some tablets or something. But yeah, let's wait and see. I've got a great 10 days off now to just chill out and have fun with my family. Pokemon quests are out tomorrow. I've got the Mewtwo raid on Sunday. I'm going to visit my sister Saturday. I should have said that. I feel a bit mean now. And I'm hoping we'll do some other cool family stuff next week. So there should be lots of good content for the channel. Yeah, subscribe to see it all. Leave me a comment to let me know your ridiculous MRI stories and so forth. And I don't know, just to show me your outpour of relief that I'm here. And yeah, just give me a like, all that jazz. And thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.